Before Anonymous would be named one of the most influential people in the world by Time magazine in 2012. Before Anonymous would declare war on Donald Trump with Operation Trump. Before Anonymous would re-emerge in the wake of violent protests over the death of George Floyd due to police brutality, promising to expose the many crimes of the Minneapolis police force to the world.
Officers who kill people and commit other crimes need to be held accountable just like the rest of us, otherwise, they will believe that they have a license to do whatever they want. You will claim that this is just the work of a few bad apples, but what of the officers who stand by and do nothing while they commit offenses against the people they encounter, and the police departments like yours who refuse to prosecute these criminals as they would one of the citizens that they are sworn to protect?
Now first off, I'm a little nervous making this video. Now if my channel goes blackout, kind of like what we did on Tuesday for Blackout Tuesday, but instead of because it's a fundraiser and likely because I pissed off the wrong people, well, I'm gonna tread lightly. Now for an unidentified group, well, the hacktivist collective known as Anonymous, well, they've made the news a mind-boggling amount of time since its inception. Now Anonymous, they announced their intentions to the world with the following motto: "We are Anonymous, we are Legion, we do not forgive, we do not forget, expect us." Now they've been involved in protests from Occupy Wall Street to the shooting of Michael Brown, and while Anonymous was initially dragged through the coals by the media, well, the group's reputation has shifted over the years. New York University professor and Anonymous researcher Beulah Coleman, well, she compares Anonymous to the trickster god archetype, we're talking Loki from Marvel. Now explaining that the trickster isn't the good guy or the bad guy, but the character that expresses those contradictions, initiates changes, and moves the plot forward. Now this trait, it is often reflected in the conversation around Anonymous, which alternates between praise and fear, with most media outlets being at a loss for how to describe them. Like Alan Moore's character of V, who inspired Anonymous to don the face of Guy Fawkes as an icon, well, we're never quite sure if they're the hero or the anti-hero. A trickster god is attracted to change, but there aren't anyone's own personal army. That's rule number 48. Yeah, there are rules, a whole bunch of them. So how exactly did Anonymous start and where do they come from? Well, that's what we're here today to find out. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Michael McCrudden back in again with a brand new Before They Were Famous video. This one on the hacktivist group known as Anonymous. Now with all the tragedy unfolding over the past couple of weeks, well, I thought now would be a good time to take a closer look at one of the group actively fighting for change. Now people have all kinds of mixed emotions about this group, and to be honest, well, their very nature makes their true intentions hard to pin down. But by exploring their past, well, hopefully we can find a better idea about what they're looking to accomplish today. Now don't forget to let me know who you guys want me to document next in the comments down below, and remember, during times like these, well, let's be as considerate as possible for one another. All right, now let's get into this video. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell. Boom! Since we're getting historical here, well, we'll have to start with 4chan.org, an extremely popular internet chat board where people go to share images and talk about them. In particular, we need to talk about one of 4chan's subboards known simply as V/. Now this is an extremely not safe for work forum where users go to post content completely anonymously with no digital archives and an anything goes type of vibe in terms of content. Now the name Anonymous, it was inspired by the perceived anonymity.
Wait a minute, who are you?
In point of fact, well, /B/ is basically the it of the internet, the collective unconscious of which depths our base drives arise, often in the form of today's universal language, the meme. That's right.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. There is little sophistication on these boards, and slurs involving sexuality and race, they are almost always on display. Now this is a purposeful choice used to keep the majority of us out. Vitriol is used as a warning sign alerting anyone on their forum to know that the deeper you go down this rabbit hole, the worse it gets. At some specific moment lost in its unrecorded history, well, /B/ and Anonymous, well, they spilled the internet's id onto the rest of the net with what they called ultra-coordinated motherfuckery. In other words, the use of technological tools of social coordination to collectively attack targets for any perceived slight. Now these came to be known as raids, and over time these raids, they took on new forms, eventually moving out of the digital world and into our real one with protests and massively coordinated pranks and DDoS attacks. Now ordering unpaid pizzas and subscribing people to embarrassing junk mail chains became the new norm.
30 pepperonis for Connor.
22 pizzas for Sean. Where are you, dude?
30 pepperonis for Connor.
Doxing too, especially if you were someone who ever abused a cat. Because Anonymous, much like the most of the internet, well, they love cats. Their initial attacks, like on kids' games Habbo Hotel, well, they were never particularly focused. But they made it clear very early on that they would target what they perceived to be social injustices. Now, raids, they could be funny or they could be devastating, but either way, well, they were gone almost as soon as they arrived. The internet's own form of natural disaster. Now, what I'm trying to say is that they were never staying on one topic for very long, until Tom Cruise and the Church of Scientology. Anonymous's first real cause to make headlines was their 2008 raid called Project Chanology, and it began with a recruitment video featuring Tom Cruise.
Being a Scientologist, when you drive past an accident, it's not like anyone else. As you drive past, you know you have to do something about it because you know you're the only one that can really help.
Now, after the church decided the video ultimately painted them in a bad light, well, they removed it from the internet, but Anonymous, they had different ideas. Now, as fast as Scientology could take down the video, well, Anonymous would find a way to put it back up. Scientology offices, they found themselves flooded with black faxes, unordered pizzas, and prank calls after prank calls that never ended. After about a week of this, well, the media outlets, they started to pick up the story, which was known as Anonymous Descends on Scientology. Instead of sending out a press release, well, Anonymous, they recorded a YouTube video with ominous imagery and sound.
Hello, leaders of Scientology. We are Anonymous. Over the years, we have been watching you, your campaigns of misinformation, your suppression of dissent, your litigious nature. All of these things have caught our eye. With the leakage of your latest propaganda video into mainstream circulation, the extent of your malign influence over those who have come to trust you as leaders has been made clear to us. Anonymous has therefore decided that your organization should be destroyed.
With that release, a movement was born, one that has been extremely active ever since. In December of 2010, when the US tried to close the whistleblowing site WikiLeaks founded by Julian Assange, forcing sites like Amazon, PayPal, and MasterCard to remove their services, well, Anonymous launched Operation Avengers Assange, in response where they temporarily brought down PayPal's, Visa, and MasterCard's website.
For more than 4 years, a group of computer hackers that goes by the name Anonymous has been hacking the websites of governments and businesses all over the world. Today, federal prosecutors said 6 key members have been arrested.
Then in early 2011, when the country Tunisia blocked WikiLeaks, well, Anonymous, they jumped back into action, starting a series of freedom ops supporting the Arab Spring protesters in Egypt, Syria, and elsewhere. Now, speaking about the moment in time, well, former Anonymous member Peter Fine, he had this to say. "We didn't wage a Twitter campaign to call our senator or get Hillary Clinton to ask Obama to tell then Egyptian president Hosni Mubarak to turn the internet back on. Fuck that. We ran 500 modem lines. We sent fax spam with treatments for tear gas because the only thing that was working was landlines. Just being able to take direct action, and that's what's so compelling. They helped empower the Tunisian people by providing them with the proper tools and information needed to fight back against the government and led a massive uprising that eventually toppled the dictatorship."
When things started to get a little crazy in Egypt, we moved into a bit more of a proactive role. We were very active, Tunisia, Egypt, Libya, Syria, trying to keep the internet running in these countries in the face of really almost overwhelming efforts by governments to shut them down.
Things reached a boiling point soon after when H.B. Gary, federal CEO Aaron Burr, well, he claimed to have identified the leader of Anonymous and promised to share their information with the FBI. FBI, open up! Now, while this information ultimately proved to be quite dubious, it was enough to get Anonymous's attention.
You think you've gathered full names and home addresses of the higher-ups of Anonymous. You haven't. You think Anonymous has a founder and various company founders. False. You believe that you can sell the information you found to the FBI. False. Now why is this one false? We've seen your internal documents, all of them, and do you know what we did? We laughed.
They attacked HB Gary's website and they crashed their servers, exposing over 70,000 emails, including a whole ton of dubious plots, like the company having taken part in the growing crypto intelligence industrial complex, profiting from America's post 9/11 insecurities. Other social injustice operations included what unfolded in Steubenville, Ohio in 2013. Now, the case involved a 16-year-old girl who was raped at a drunken house party by two football players from the local high school. These two losers took pictures of the victim while she was passed out and mercilessly teased her on social media. Now, anonymous, they brought attention to the case and decimated photos and a damning voicemail that saw one of the attackers harassing the victim even further.
On this fateful night, a life was changed forever as a group of the football players of Big Red High School, dubbed themselves Rape Crew, and began taking advantage of an underage girl. The girl was sexually assaulted, molested, raped, and drug unconscious from party to party. This is a warning shot to the school faculty, the parents of those involved, and those involved especially. A preliminary dox is being released on some of those involved, while a full-size dox of everyone involved, including names, social security numbers, addresses, relatives, and phone numbers, is being compiled as you watch this video.
Since then, Anonymous has contributed to countless other attacks like Operation Outburrows involving the Westboro Baptist Church, which they hacked. There was also Operation Charlie Hebdo in response to the shooting at the Charlie Hebdo office in Paris. Then there was Operation KKK that saw them threatening to release the names and information of over 1,000 Klan members. Whoever they are, wherever they are, well, hopefully Anonymous will continue to use their power for good rather than evil. But here's the thing. Well, Anonymous, it isn't so much an organization as they are an ideology.
Beneath this mask, there is more than flesh. Beneath this mask, there is an idea, and ideas are bulletproof.
Now, what started as a 4chan message board has morphed into a global cause for advocacy that is growing day by day. Now, they have no single leader or cause, and to paint them purely as heroes, it would be a mistake. Now, like everything else in this world, well, they're nuanced and they're complicated. But I think that in terms of the issues facing us today, in the here and now, well, they're standing on the right side of the fence. That's for sure.
These officers must face criminal charges, and Officer Chauvin especially should face murder charges. Unfortunately, we do not trust your corrupt organization to carry out justice, so we will be exposing your many crimes to the world. We are Legion. Expect us.
As for the rest of the story, well, I think we're gonna wrap this one up here. That was a tough one to do, very complicated stuff. Also, I'm nervous. I don't want no target on my head. We're just historians here. So I think we did a fair story. Anyways, guys, let us know who's next in the comments down below. Please keep safe out there, and I'll see you guys in another video. Boom.